Hello, folks. Welcome to Scratch the Surface. My name's EJ Scott. Thanks for tuning in. Today, my guest is Paul Brittain. Paul was on Saturday Night Live for a season and a half, and he's an improviser. I've known him since I lived in Chicago a bunch of years ago. He's a good man, very, very funny. He's also got his own podcast on Howl. I'll talk about that in a second, but I just wanted to give some quick plugs to myself. Find me on Twitter at EJ Scott, the podcast at EJ Podcast, my website, ejscott.com. Raising money for charity. Go to crowdrise.com/7on7. I've chosen about a dozen charities that mean a lot to me, and I'm sure at least one of them means something to you if you took a look. I think they're causes and that affect everybody. So take a look and give what you can. I'm trying to raise $500,000 through these charities. So check that out. And also, I am losing my eyesight to an eye disease called choroideremia. It's degenerative and genetic, and I'm legally blind now. And in 2012, I ran 12 marathons in 12 states in 12 months, blindfolded, and was able to get a documentary made about it, directed by Ryan Suffern. And it's a good 30-minute documentary. Only $2 or $3 to buy or rent it on iTunes or Google Play or Amazon. So go check that out. If you have $2 or $3 and 30 minutes, it's well worth your time, I think. And I'm on Instagram just for fun. EJ Scott 1106. Paul Brittain achieved the dream. For me, being on Saturday Night Live would be a dream. I came close, but not really. Not really. I talk about it in this episode where I did extra work on Saturday Night Live, but my scene got cut right before they went live. Damn it! So close, but yet so far. But we talk a lot about the process of auditioning for Saturday Night Live, getting on Saturday Night Live, the transition from moving to Chicago to New York. What's that like? Working there, the guests that he worked with, the other performers he worked with, and also not getting invited back for the second half of his second season, and what was that like? So we talk a lot about that, and like I said, he does do a podcast himself called Mr. Right, with a W. And it's on Howl. If you're familiar with Howl, that's where Mark Maron has his podcast. Lots of great podcasts on Howl. Would love to get mine on Howl. Just saying, Howl. So go check that out. All right, let's get to it. It's a long one, but it's a good one. So check it out. Enjoy my talk with Paul Brittain. Hi, Paul.
Hi, EJ.
How's it going?
It's going good. How are you doing?
Good. It's been a long time since I've seen you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Good to see you.
I'm trying to think. When was the last time we would have seen each other?
I mean, out here.
Out here somewhere, maybe?
Out here, right? Maybe.
I.O. West? That's what I would imagine.
Probably.
Yeah, definitely. That's the last time.
Run into each other at I.O.
Mm-hmm.
Because I met you, I guess, originally in Chicago.
Yeah.
At I.O. Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And you were performing regularly there.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first time I saw you before we met, what were the teams you were on there?
Ooh. Back in those days, what
was your Herald team then?
Rattlesnake High School was
Yes.
the team that I was on for a
yeah.
long time. When did you move to Chicago?
08.
08, okay.
But I visited a couple times before then.
Yeah. Rattlesnake High School was a team at I.O. in Chicago for like 5 to 6 years, something like that, for a long time. And then Mike Helicopter was a Herald team that I was on.
Okay, I think I've seen them.
In that era, probably.
And I saw you do a midnight show. I think it was a midnight show with like Rex Graff. There's like 3 of you in like uniforms.
Oh, Topaz.
Topaz.
Yes.
I've seen that.
I'm glad you have seen that.
I saw that.
Yes. Topaz was a
Was that named after the movie?
No, it was a name that we liked. It was myself, Rex Graff, and Bill Baylor, and we were all on Rattlesnake High School together. And I think Topaz was like a runner-up name for Rattlesnake at one point, so it was just a name that we had kicking around.
Okay.
And we wanted to do this show, and I got this idea in my head that we would all wear like denim jumpsuits.
Yeah.
Just one-piece denim thingies.
What made you think that?
I somehow had that vision in my head.
You're like, this will look really good.
That was pretty much it. There was very little other like concept for the show. It was just like, what if we have these and we'll make it, I think before we ever started doing it, the idea was like, if we make it like we will look ridiculous and we will try and perform as like just so like tense and dramatic, like a lot of like tense, dramatic testosterone, anger, energy. That was kind of all that our thought was ahead of time.
I think you succeeded.
Yeah. So then we started doing it, and it was really fun and really ridiculous, and we kind of really leaned into making it as physical of a show as possible, and it was that was all kind of accentuated by a ridiculous outfit. So this is way back. This is probably like 2004, I'm gonna guess, is when we first did it. And we'd done it. We did a show like 2 years ago back in Chicago. So we've done it off and on. Yeah. We've done a lot of.
I'm glad you guys are. Everybody still fit into their denim onesie.
It's some of them are straining at the seams a little bit, but yeah. So that was so 2004. So I had to like get on the old desktop computer and be like, where can I purchase a denim?
What made you even think that existed? Like, did you?
I don't know.
Seen them before?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't really know.
Yeah,
I don't know. It came to me in a vision, and so I had to go online and just start searching and found them on some sort of women's apparel, online store.
Women's apparel.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those the only people who make those, unless you get it, unless you're like a rock star who gets it like custom made or something. Right. So this was like a women's online apparel store, and so I bought one, and it arrived. And then once everyone else,
how much is one of those?
These were
2004.
Not that bad. I think like $35 maybe.
It's reasonable.
$35-$40. Yeah, it's a whole outfit.
Yeah, and you're still using it.
Still using it.
I mean, 10 years later.
Exactly.
That's a good investment.
Yeah, years later. So once I got mine and everyone and Bill and Rex saw it, then they were like, okay, yeah, we got to do this. And I tried mine on, and it kind of, this is my first time like buying any women's clothing on purpose. I didn't know what size I was.
Okay.
And definitely my first time buying any just one piece zip up jumpsuit, I think. So I tried mine on, and it fit kind of normally, but we were like, these should be stupidly tight instead of this. So I gave that one to Bill, and I bought one that was like at least 2 sizes smaller than the first one I got. And then Rex, who is built...
Petite woman.
Me, yeah.
Yeah, petite. You wear petite woman.
Yeah, I don't remember. I have to look up what size mine is. I can't remember, right. But a lower number. But Rex is built more like a linebacker.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
That they don't generally have sizes that
plus size, no plus size.
I mean, he got a real big one, but it was still very tight. That he just don't. He just has a different.
He should have sewn 2 together or something.
Yeah, we should have. But yeah, so we started doing that show kind of occasionally, and then we did like a run at IO for a while. That must have been when you would have seen it. We were doing like midnights downstairs at the cabaret.
Yeah.
At IO.
And I was visiting, and I was like, somebody jumped up, maybe you, or somebody like I was there for something else. Maybe it's after TJ and Dave. Is that possible?
It could be possible, like later on in the night. Yeah, it could be possible. Yeah.
Somebody jumps up and says, "Hey, stick around. There's a midnight," and I'm like, "All right, I'm here."
Yeah.
And then I watch. I'm like, "What's happening here?"
Right. Yeah. That was the that's the appropriate response.
Yeah.
What's happening?
And where did they get those outfits? I want one.
Yeah. That was the idea. So we had so much fun with that, and we would.
They look like fun.
Yeah, a lot of real physical, a lot of tumbling. I'm physically smaller than everyone else, so I would get thrown around a lot, which was fine, or like picked up, or I could I could just really chuck myself at Rex, and that would be fine. There's only maybe a couple of times where I had to remind Rex later, like, you outweigh me by 100 pounds.
Easy does it on me. Easy.
And I hit that wall pretty hard.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think that was the show that made me say, I should move to Chicago.
Is that true?
I think that's the show.
I doubt it.
I think that was it. I went back to LA and I made plans to move to Chicago immediately. So thank you.
I hope that's what happened.
You inspired me.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a real fun time.
Are you performing much these days?
More like improv, like more sporadically out here. I do Armando sometimes at iOS, and I kind of other stuff is just, sitting in with other friends groups or doing one-off shows or doing one-off spots that I'm asked to do or setting up, like I recently did like a live version of my podcast that I do for Howl.
Yep, Mr. Right.
Yeah, called Mr. Right. Right with W.
Words.
Yeah.
Right?
You've heard. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I make sure to say that at every single anytime the word right comes up. And now I've even tried to start, if we're using the word right with an R, I try to say right with an R, like distinguishing
no
it.
play on words.
I should. I can't remember if I've done that or not. But I should. Right with an R, not a play on words. Yeah. Right.
Where did that come from? Because I've just been listening to a bunch of episodes. So you have your own podcast on Howl called Mr. Right with a W, play on words.
It's play on words, yeah.
And you're a character through it.
Yes.
The whole thing. You're somebody else. You're not Paul Brittain at all.
Exactly, yeah. So
you're Richard Wright.
Richard Bunn.
Richard Bunn.
Who is Mr. Right. That's I know. It gets confusing. But yeah, so he's this novelist character.
Bunn with an N.
Bunn with two N's.
Is that a play on words as well?
No.
I'm not sure. Okay.
No play on words.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's this novelist character named Richard Bunn, who is a dipstick, just a full-on dipwad. And he has this, as I'm doing air quotes right now, process for writing his novels, which is really just he just like says whatever he sees in his head, and he writes it all down and doesn't edit anything, and so he writes like 100 novels a year is the concept behind this guy.
That's still impressive.
Well, yes, if he were to do that,
even if they're terrible,
it would be impressive.
Better than I'm doing.
Yeah, it would be impressive, but definitely the conceit is that these are awful novels. This is terrible. Right. This guy is an idiot, and he's nonetheless relatively kind of pretentious, or thinks he's a really good writer, and he's an idiot. So that's the idea. It was like a sketch character I had written once, and then I ended up doing it on Comedy Bang Bang on the TV show. An episode of the TV show probably a couple of years ago. When I was trying to think of what would be a fun character to play on this show, and kind of going through my old stuff, like what's a thing that I haven't actually ever done before, and then I remembered this character in this sketch, and so thought, yeah, that would be real fun. And so we did it on the show, and it was real fun to do. Randall Park was the other guest on that episode, so he was kind of in it as well.
Okay.
And kind of pretty quickly realized, like, oh, this is something I would like to do a lot more of. It's the kind of thing that I like doing.
You tapped
getting into
this
one,
guy.
getting into one character, and really just spending a lot of time there and kind of fleshing it out and making it something of a three-dimensional person, more than just like the premise of the sketch. I think that's just a thing that I, for whatever reason, have an affinity for. So I had been, I'd been doing occasional episodes of Comedy Bang Bang, and that was kind of my first experience with like doing podcasts, and that was so much fun and such a natural thing for us improvisers,
Yeah.
And on that show, you're often playing characters again, which is what I love doing the most, I think.
Yeah.
So I'd been kind of trying to kick around ideas for, well, what if I wanted to do a podcast? What would that be? How could I do one? And so once I did that character, I realized, oh, this could be really good. What if this guy has a podcast where he interviews other writers? And that was kind of, that's it. And let's see what happens. So,
and some of the writers, they're all improvisers, and they either play themselves as writers or they're playing characters as writers.
Exactly, yeah. Which I wanted to just try out everything and see how they went. So yeah, some of my guests for the first season I did. Excuse me.
He's gonna throw up.
Oh God. I throw up every 20 minutes. That's how this podcast is gonna go.
He does it on his own podcast too. It's really good.
So I had friends who were like TV writers out here who are also like performers,
Brad
improvisers,
Morris and Andy Sinclair.
Yeah, and Mike O'Brien,
right.
And I had them kind of play themselves or kind of slightly fake version of themselves, and they were really game, and I really appreciated them doing that because we hadn't recorded any ahead of time, so they didn't have a sample to be like, okay, so how's this gonna go? You're gonna be a weirdo character, and I gotta be myself. So I really appreciated them just kind of throwing themselves into it for me. And then I had in my head also I wanted to try out with other people just playing a character as well, and did those, and those were really fun. And then I did I did a live one on that first season as well. Yeah.
Brendan Jennings.
Yeah, with Brendan Jennings and Poonam Patel, we did a live one, and then who else did I have? Since we've named, I don't want to leave anybody out. I did one with Lauren Lapkus and one with Tim Baltz, where they were playing characters. And so I'm recording another season of that right now.
Because you've been doing more live ones.
Yeah, I did a couple
Chicago,
more live ones recently. Yeah,
CB,
yeah. Did one in Chicago, which was real fun, with Baltz and Ben Cedar. Ben Cedar, like EJ, one of the tallest improvisers we have.
Yeah, he's my sworn enemy.
The
only one.
I found one annoying thing, being not like that. I found that out here in LA, like many of like my best guy friends are all like 6'5" to 6'7", so I'm always I hang out with Cedar and Levin and St. Clair, like too many way tall guys for this not as tall
like
guy.
Yourself.
I do, yeah, exactly.
I'm sure there's a convention or something.
Yeah, for 5'8" guys. What was I saying?
So new season.
Yeah. So did a couple of live ones.
So you did some live ones. Did you record more not live ones?
Yeah, and then right now, I've started recording more in the studio.
Can you tease who your guests are in those?
I can tease. I can be a real tease.
Give us their height.
I'm gonna. I'm doing one this week with another tall guy, Scott Aukerman. So that'll be real
From
fun.
Comedy Bang Bang.
Mm-hmm. I'm really excited about that.
Cool.
That's gonna be great. I did one with Ryan Gall. Do you know Ryan?
Guy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I know him from IO West. He's also a groundling.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Very good actor. He's been in about 1,000 commercials.
Yes. He. Yeah. That's always a real fun thing. Living out here in LA is how constantly you see your friends pop up on TV. When when previously it would be like, oh, goddamn commercials, great,
Yeah.
this is the worst, but like invariably there's Gall again.
Yep.
There's all your other friends. Yeah, he's great. He's so funny. I had known him just a little bit. Had met him through Taryn Killam.
Mm-hmm.
They're friends from the Groundlings and from LA for a long time. And we just did this movie this summer that Taryn
How to Kill Gunther,
directed.
right? Isn't it? Or why are we killing Gunther?
Why we're killing Gunther? Exactly.
Yeah. Either way, Gunther's dead, man.
Well, maybe or maybe not.
Maybe not. And Gunther is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's right. Yes.
That's pretty funny.
Gunther is Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm not spoiling anything with that.
No, it's on IMDb.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that was pretty neat and crazy to get to witness.
Because Taryn wrote and directed this movie.
Mm-hmm. He wrote and directed and stars in it.
And his wife is in it. Kobe Smulders is also in it.
Yes.
Bobby Moynihan.
Yes, Bobby.
You know Taryn from SNL?
Yes.
Originally, that's where you guys met.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, we met.
Because you guys started, you, him, Vanessa, and Jay.
And Jay Farrow.
Were the 4 newbies on that season, and when was it?
2010?
10?
Yeah, we all started together then.
He's a nice guy, and I think because of you, or at least your blessing, he did my podcast.
Oh, he that's right. He told me. I remember that he had done it, and I remember he had asked me if I knew you. I don't know if maybe through Facebook you guys had you had reached out to him or whatever. But I remember that he asked me if I knew you, and that's all he said.
Because I never met him before.
Is this guy okay?
Yeah.
No.
He has a real thing. Is this a real thing, or am I being tricked? Because I didn't know him at all, and I wrote to him just kind of Hail Marying it.
Oh wow, okay.
And but he wrote back like I knew him.
Oh
which was
wow,
so nice of him. And
yeah,
then you never
he's
know
the
in
best.
this world. He was a Groundling. Maybe I didn't know him.
Yeah,
like maybe I met him 5 years before.
Yeah,
that. Who knows?
I mean, perhaps, and here in the comedy
never
community. Know. And when are you from LA originally or not?
Long Island.
Oh, okay.
Long Island, New York.
And you
I'm
live.
not proud of it.
You don't have to be not proud of it.
I'm just saying. I prefer to be not proud of it.
But you moved to LA. When was that?
Moved to LA in 2003.
Okay, gotcha.
Moved to Chicago in 2008.
Yeah.
Moved back here in 2011.
Gotcha. Right. Okay.
And here we are. 17.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's 17. Yeah.
When did you were in New York, and you moved out here when?
I moved out here almost 5 years ago, I'm going to say.
Okay.
Yeah. Just about 5 years ago.
12-ish. Was it right after SNL?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, early 2012. Yeah, just about 5 years. Wow, that's crazy. I was just doing that math in my head because it's like it's rained more here in the past week, I want to say, than in the entire let's say 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Than in the 5 years I've lived here. And then I was trying to figure out how many years. Okay, that's how long.
That's true. I'm only here I got here in December from New York. Mm-hmm. And I'm only here for a little while, but it's rained here more than I've ever seen it rain here before.
Mm-hmm.
My whole backyard got flooded like a pond.
Wow.
We have a pool. The pool filled up. Poor problems, but it's never happened before.
That's amazing.
Before. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It's definitely very, very welcome.
Do you miss the Chicago weather?
See, I do.
Yeah.
When I definitely have over the past 5 years. It's just too much sunlight here. I don't like it. I have consistently found myself craving a cloudy day.
Me too.
And I get excited when there is one.
Me too.
And people who are natives here are more like, I think, calling their therapist when it's cloudy for a couple days. Kind of like,
I need another therapy dog.
Yeah, where I'm celebrating when it's cloudy, but
Me too.
But this has been more sustained than
this
we've
is
seen.
unusual.
Yeah,
but it's about to clear up 75 or something.
Okay, yeah,
so we're back.
But
that was the winter.
Yeah, thank goodness for the rainfall though. The drought has been insane.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad.
Yeah, this just Chicago. pale Irish kid can't take the 90 degrees for like 2 months straight.
Yeah.
That we've, just kind of like during the drought we've been getting.
Oh, how about 9-10 months straight? That sun.
Yeah.
It gets like that.
Yeah.
You go, when's the last time it rained? Oh, like a year ago, I think.
Oh, I guess it's been a year.
Yeah.
Great.
Something like that.
When is dusk so I can go outside?
10 o'clock.
Okay. Finally.
Yeah, it's way too much sun. If they could do something about that, that'd be
Too
nice.
much sun. We need a sunblocker. We need Mr. Burns' sunblocker.
We need something. When I was in Chicago, right before I left, I saw some SNL auditions.
Oh, yeah.
And one of them was Vanessa's.
Oh, you saw videos of them?
No, I was there in person.
Back. Okay, I was thinking
Yeah,
just
for the
recently.
showcase.
Yeah. Oh no, back then.
Yeah.
In 2010, you're talking.
That was 8 for 2008. Maybe no. I moved. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, 2010.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right, like when me and Vanessa got hired.
Right when you guys got hired. Did you guys get hired in the beginning of a season or in the middle of a season? I forget.
It was right before the season.
Right before the start of the season.
Yeah, so it was like
the
showcase is like at IO upstairs.
Mm-hmm. For Lorne Michaels and Seth Meyers, maybe?
Yeah, Seth
and Mike O'Brien.
Mike O'Brien was there. Steve Higgins, other writers were there. Writers, producers. Yeah, Lauren.
I missed your night.
Okay.
And then I think it was all supposed to happen in one night, and then they added a night, right?
Yeah. I recall this.
And then that's why I went the second night, because there was like some sort of email of like, hey, this just popped up, and everybody, you can come.
It was like there was probably 22 of us performing, something like that, and that's a lot of people for one night, and a lot of people were going, longer. Yeah. So about halfway through, they were like, you know what? Let's just come back tomorrow.
Been 2 hours.
This is gonna be This is gonna be forever. Yeah. So that was probably like August. I'm gonna say ish,
something like that.
2010.
And what was your audition like? Well, I heard about it. I heard it was great. And what like going into that? Do you know what you're gonna do?
Yeah.
How do you pick what you're gonna do? Do you go, all right?
Let's see.
Had you auditioned in the past?
I hadn't auditioned before for SNL, and they kind of just the year before, like previously at IO, they would, if they were doing an audition thing, they would kind of just, Sharna and whomever else would decide on a bunch of performers kind of to showcase, and they would often just put them in groups and just have them improvise. Right. Say put 3 groups together, and just have three groups, each do a herald, just improvising. And then I think the year before I auditioned was kind of the first time she switched it to doing a solo performance that's more akin to the actual SNL audition in New York. So just doing like 5 minutes of your own material, characters, impressions, that kind of thing. So they had just switched that like the year before, and the thought was, you've got 5 minutes to do characters and or impressions, whatever you want to do. I think I remember Sharna suggesting like do 2, everybody like do 2 characters or do 2 things. Don't try to cram in like 50 things. So I did, at that time I was doing a sketch show with Jet Eveleth. Mm-hmm. We were doing a sketch show that was kind of inspired by, we had done an improv show together called Ted and Melanie for probably like the year before, for 6 months or something like that. And she was really great about this. She was like, let's try and jot down like any scenes that we do that we really liked, or characters that we really liked. And then we can come back later and kind of try and script these and make a sketch show out of it.
Right.
That was all her genius idea.
Well, she's a genius. She's great.
Yeah.
Jet.
Yeah. She's amazing. So Yeah, we had done that improv show, and then we had now just scripted up a lot of these characters and scenes and bits of scenes that we had remembered performing, and we were running that show at that time. So for my audition, I did one character that was from our sketch show that had come from a scene that we had improvised probably a year before.
Which character?
This was a guy who has only seen the light of day kind of in live shows, named Frederick from Zurich, who's just a Swiss man, sort of, let's call him a Swiss trophy husband.
Okay, you're right, I get it.
This is more backstory than he even has. But really all that happens in this piece is he comes out, he backs his car out in the driveway and runs over his wife's cat, and it's the third time he's now killed the third of his wife's cats, and he just rants and screams at himself for a while.
Well, it's their fault. They're house animals. Don't you think?
That's true. They shouldn't get out. But he's more just yelling at himself. He's extremely concerned that he's going to be sent back to Zurich. He's going to be deported. His wife's going to divorce him, and he's going to be kicked out. And that's kind of the whole thing. And then in that scene, in that sketch, like Jet plays a neighbor who I scream at and come over, and I try to get her to go in with me on some crazy story where she killed it instead of me.
Okay.
She's just playing it like a normal person is like, that's not a good idea.
So did
Frederick.
the two of you do the audition?
Well, that's funny you should mention it. So with that thing, I just did that by myself. She was doing a couple of characters, and I think, I'm trying to remember what she did, if it was stuff from our show or not. But she wanted me to, she wanted to do hers with a scene partner. So she wanted me to sort of be the straight man for these two pieces that she did.
Because she auditioned the same night?
Yeah.
You? Oh,
Yeah, exactly. So she had me be kind of like the straight man. Yeah, they weren't things from our sketch show. They were other characters and pieces of Jet's. So I did that as well, and then I did this character, Sex Ed Vincent.
Right. Who ended up on SNL?
Yes.
Once, right?
Twice.
Maybe twice? Okay.
Twice, yeah. That was like a solo show I had done at IO.
Right.
Which, would that have been the same? Would that have been when you were there?
I missed
Maybe.
it. Maybe, but I missed it.
I'm trying to think what year that would. Yeah, it was like 08, so it could have been. But yeah, so that was. He's just a freelance, unqualified sex education enthusiast who gives seminars and
very creepy
tries.
looking.
Yeah,
He's very creepy looking. Mr. Wright's kind of creepy looking too from the cartoon that's on the podcast.
I think you're misapplying the word creepy here.
Okay, I apologize. I don't mean to offend.
Not offensive. I get what you're saying there though, but like when I first did the sex ed character in Chicago, well, I had first done it on there was this show that we used to do there that I eventually joined, called the Late Night Late Show, which was sort of like a fake late night talk show, like a fake Conan show or whatever, with just awesome, funny people who were involved in it, like Jordan Klepper, and
he's on the Daily Show now.
and Steve Waltine and Sarah Haskins directed it, and Seth Whiteberg and Jeremy Sisenko and Katie Nunz, and now I'm gonna kick myself if I've left anybody out. But like,
everybody
great
else
people.
is expendable.
And no, they and Michael Lair and Alex Eilhar, Megan O'Neill. Okay, I think I said everybody. but anyway, most of them were doing the show for the better part of a year, and then I joined later. They asked me to join as kind of another writer performer. So the idea was it was like a fake late night talk show. So there would be, the host at the desk in character and
stuff like that.
sidekick and a musical guy, and then different sort of comedy bits and guests would happen. So that sex ed was like a comedy. A comedy piece in this comedy show. There's a character that appeared on that show one time, and that it really stood out to me when I first did it. Like, it was so fun to do. I knew going in, and it got such a really good response from the audience. And then I did it maybe one or two more times on that show, and I had been trying to think of. I can't remember if I wanted to do some kind of a solo show, some kind of a solo performance thing, and after having done that character, it dawned on me that it would be really fun to just do this guy's seminar, and as if like the audience are his paying customers. So, and I really liked that sort of idea and structure, because often when you're doing like solo sketch or like one man show performance, that kind of thing, you're often doing it's like you're doing a sketch, but we just don't hear the other person,
Right.
So you're saying your lines and then we're not hearing the other thing, which is all fine and good, and but it just seemed really cool and fun to me to be able to do this just straight to the audience.
Then you can play with the audience too.
Exactly. So, so that's where that sucker came from.
So you worked him into it. How many characters did you do for?
I did those two characters in the audition.
Okay.
The Frederick and Sex Ed Vincent, and then I kind of just played the straight man in Jets things, where one, I'm trying to think of what they both were. One was, she was like playing a character who was trying to record like a commercial voiceover, and I was like the guy in the booth, being like, okay, can you do this now? Okay, can you? All right, how about and like this?
You both got callbacked, right?
We did, yeah. We
flown to New York.
Yeah, we got flown to New York. Maybe a couple weeks later, something like that.
Yeah, and I had Chris Wataski here a week ago or so.
Oh, no way! Yeah. He was there as well.
I saw his audition with Vanessa. Vanessa that same night.
Yeah, like the night after me and Jet. Exactly.
They both killed it that night, so it wasn't a surprise to me that they got called
back. They did as well. Yeah. It was real fun. There was a nice group of us from Chicago. So we.
Well, what happens when you get that call of, hey, good news? Did you feel like you were going to get called back?
Did
Michael Bryan come up to you and go, yeah, you're right.
Well, here's what I remember was, I remember it went well, but those, that audience is really excited and they're laughing and applauding and everything. But I felt like it went well, and I remember people coming up to me and friends coming up and being like, because also at those showcases, at all times it's like half the audience, they're looking at what's going on stage, and half the time they're looking to see if the people came, if they're laughing. Exactly. So people kept coming up and being like, you were getting a good response from everyone who came to see. So I felt good about that. And then I think I did hear maybe a few days later from Mike O'Brien, who a friend of mine and former coach who had started writing there the year before. And then who wrote and performed on the show for a lot of years.
Were you nervous to perform in front of all of them?
Yeah, I was, and it was a weird thing. I remember because at that time, having done 5-6 years, more like 7 years probably performing. When you first start out doing improv and stuff, you're really nervous. Mm-hmm. You don't know for really a few years. I don't know if I know how to do this. Am I going to be funny this time? What's going to happen? And then, the more years you're at it, kind of that nervousness goes away, and you kind of forget, you don't have that like physiological response anymore. You know, the heart rate going and
Right.
and everything like that, and the anxiousness. So I remember like that backstage. You know, it's so much anticipation, and you've only got a few minutes, and you just don't want to like stumble over your words, or you really want to get like the timing of everything right. So, and all you have to do is all you have is time to go over it in your head and sit there in a green room, you know, with like 12 other performers. So
is anybody making jokes in there? Or is everybody pretty concentrated?
it's pretty quiet because you're only a few feet away from the stage and
Right.
everything like that. But but yeah, so I remember just like oh man, like heart beating really fast. Like, how can I slow this thing down? I don't want this to affect me. You know,
Your
I
heart
don't want
rate.
I don't want it to
Because you don't want to get out there and
speed
go.
up.
Blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
blah.
exactly. You don't want that to happen.
I did that my very first time doing stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
I got on stage and was so nervous that I got through. I think I had 7 minutes, and I did 7 minutes in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Because one, there was no
So,
laughter.
You're right. You didn't need to. So you didn't need to build in any time for laughs.
There was no laughter, and I just it was so.
I'd say I got
just
10
nervously-
minutes. I should do 7 minutes, and there's going to be 3 minutes of laughs.
Exactly.
That would happen.
Exactly. But there's none of that, and I was nervous, so I
Yeah.
just sped through everything.
Right.
I was
Right.
like, let me just get these words out, and then I'll get off stage.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, I remember being quite just heart really beating,
Did you
nervous.
sleep the night before? Is there sleep?
I think I slept reasonably okay the night before. I think I slept fine the night before, but I do remember just in the run up to it, the couple hours beforehand, just it, you know, it really starts ramping up.
Sure.
You know, and then, you know, once you get out there and once you start performing and you're getting some laughs, it kind of you settle right in.
Yeah.
Which is nice. And it was good that the stuff that I was doing, I didn't just write it, you know, the night before.
Right.
One was like, you know, a solo show. I'd been, you know, an hour-long show that I was running for 4 months or something like that. That I was just very, very used to slipping into. What was I saying before?
So Michael Bryan calls you.
Oh yeah, so he maybe a couple days after the audition, or maybe the next day, he said they really liked what you did. They might be having some of the people they've seen here at I.O. and also at Second City informally to out for drinks one of these nights.
Right.
So like that might happen tomorrow. So I was like, oh great, that's awesome, exciting. That didn't actually end up happening. They didn't end up doing it at all.
Okay.
But you know, having heard that, I was optimistic then if they're going to be calling, you know, flying people out to New York, that, you know, I would hopefully be included.
Yeah.
So, you know, just so hearing that from O'Brien was really cool and exciting. Yeah, and then so, yeah, you mentioned Chris Witaski and Vanessa and myself and Jet and Sam Richardson.
Sam.
And
he was doing main stage at the time.
Mm-hmm. And Tom Flanagan.
He was also.
At Second City, yeah. And that was the 6 of us from Chicago. So we all flew out. I remember we flew out, you know, relatively early in the morning. It's so crazy. Like flying out relatively early in the morning, get into New York, get into your hotel. I remember actually trying to take a nap, but the audition was just later that afternoon or like early evening. So it was like, it wasn't even like fly in and then you're auditioning tomorrow night. It was like fly in, take a nap in the hotel, and the performance is coming soon. And I remember, this is funny, I had not thought of this detail. I ran into, at the airport, a guy, like a friend from college who I hadn't seen since college. Just
O'Hare or Midway or something?
At O'Hare, just
Yeah.
ran into him at the airport,
Huh.
and was like, "Oh, hey, what's going on? Good to see you." And I was, there with everybody else, trying to do that in a couple minutes catch up thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "What?" He's like, "I'm flying to wherever for work or something like that. Where you headed?" Like, "I'm going to New York to audition for SNL." Like, it's such a kind of crazy thing.
And he's like, what?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we fly out and we get
What
there.
is that, a week later or something that you're flying?
Yeah, a
out
week
now?
or two later, somewhere in there. Exactly. And
So you get to your hotel. You can't
Get to a
nap?
hotel.
Do you nap?
I think I tried to. I'm real bad at napping and falling asleep in general. Like, I can't.
Especially with nerves and stuff.
Yeah. So,
So now
I tried to.
Do you think you have to? So now you got to audition again. Do you pick new characters, new impression? I mean,
Well,
things?
they kind of suggest doing both. Feeling free to do some of the same stuff you did, as well as new stuff if you want to. And
Chris Mataski had a funny story about. Did he tell you the story about
I'm not
this
sure
character that he kept auditioning with? That Lorne Michaels goes, "You could retire that character."
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that Lauren said that, but I think I bet I can guess the one. Was he a garbage man?
No.
Oh, that's
The
a
one-
character I remember Chris telling me about.
The one he said was like an amalgam of his aunts, his like Chicago
Okay.
female characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he kept
was like-
doing it over and over again.
We're not gonna need you to do the Chicago ant, Chris.
So are you?
That's
So
funny.
you're just waiting for the phone call, right? You just wait for a phone call and say, "Okay, it's time. Come on over."
I think I think it's like you get in, you're at the hotel right across the street from 30 Rock,
Wow.
and they have you come in some point earlier, and I recall being told there was, I think, 23 people auditioning. Chicago, LA, New York, like other places. I think probably some stand-ups from different places.
Right. And they picked 4 you guys. Wow.
And they, let's see. So they put you in the cast's dressing rooms. So kind of you just someone's in this dressing room, someone's in this dressing
Whose
room.
dressing room?
So I remember I was in Fred Armisen's dressing room, which was, just that right there in itself was like, this is so surreal.
Anything
This is crazy.
stick out of his? Any stuff he had, like Prince photos or something? Did he have anything?
There must have been, but I don't remember it. I just remember just being in there, and it's a big giant mirror there on the wall, and
He's
so
very vain.
No,
Just
he didn't outfit the dressing room. It's like that in all the dressing rooms, but so you're just sitting there, kind of going over your whole audition in the mirror over and over again,
Right.
and that kind of thing. So you just wait in the dressing room, and then someone comes and gets you right before, when you're on deck, basically. I think was how it worked.
Did you get to hear or see the other auditions?
You
okay? No, that's pillow. He's throwing up again.
That's my second throw up of the podcast.
Yes.
You when they bring you down onto the floor outside of the stage, you're close enough where you can hear the stage, so you could kind of hear the person going before you. I certainly don't remember one instant of anything. I don't know who that was. I didn't actually see them. You kind of wait in the wings, and then once that person finishes, then they lead you out there.
And that's the first time you get to see the stage and everything like that.
Yeah.
Right? And you're like,
Exactly.
fuck me, I've been seeing this stage my whole life.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's I mean, probably the word surreal probably gets overused, but it really is. It's that crazy. And the studio, which you often see on the show, you'll sometimes see, they're doing some piece out in the audience, where a character goes out in the audience, that kind of things. The studio is just completely empty. other than one camera and the camera operator. And then the people who are watching the audition are kind of up far away in audience seats that are not on the floor. So it's just an empty.
They're looking down on you.
They're off there in the dark and with like a desk lamp that you can just barely see out of the corner of your eye.
Or a flashlight like under their chins.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
looking even more sinister.
Make it even scarier. Yeah. They could do that. But otherwise it's just you know, the stage manager leads you up onto the stage and there's the camera. And you just...
What do you slate? My name's Paul
You just...
Brittain.
I can't remember. I assume I said that. I think I was probably like, "Hi, my name's Paul Brittain." and then
Was
you
there
just go right into it.
Any instinct to wear your onesie denim ensemble?
Oh, man. Missed opportunity.
I mean, that...
Well, I would have been...
Power.
If I didn't get hired, I would have been kicking myself that I didn't. I guess the problem would have been like you couldn't make a costume change. It'd be a real lengthy costume change after that.
Were you doing costume changes on stage?
No. I think I put on a hat.
Okay.
I think I put on a hat and maybe some glasses at one point.
Okay.
But what was I gonna say?
Sorry.
No. You didn't come yet. But this was the thing about
What?
When you said that about did I wear the denim suit, I remember now thinking about and potentially doing this other character, which I'm glad that I did not do.
What is it?
Which was, because so
like your aunt?
putting together, this is my aunt
Chicago
from
aunt.
Chicago. It was, when I was thinking about putting together this audition I wanted to do, I was going to do those two of those same characters that went real well, and I had some different material for them as well that I could do, and I wanted to do some impressions just to show I had some ability to maybe do a couple of those, and then I did another character thing that I'd never performed before until the night before. I remember the night before we flew out, Jet and I practiced our audition just at I.O. one night in front of the audience. So that was the first time I'd actually done that thing. But the thing that I didn't do was a character that went back to the Late Night Late Show, which I think was inspired by a Halloween costume that I had thrown together. Which I'm gonna have no good explanation for where or why this comes from, but somehow this name popped into my head. I remember that. I wrote it down, and I was like, "This is what I got to be for Halloween."
Where was the name?
6 months from now, Jim Beefbeard, and
so like a Red State guy. I don't know why. I'm just getting that.
I mean, it could be, but it's really more literal than that. It's just a guy, and he has a beard made out of hamburger. Yes.
I still say it sounds like a Red State guy.
Not far off at all. So I fashioned,
You had real beef?
ground beef. I cooked into kind of a long rectangle, and I cooked like string into it. Okay, can you picture this?
I'm trying.
Okay. Yeah. I cooked string into this sort of giant hamburger slab, and I had to make it pretty thin so it'd be flexible.
I didn't know you were a cook.
I like to cook. Yeah, I like to cook beards. So I cooked that, and I had string in it, and then I cut a mouth hole open, and I kind of shaped it. You're loving this.
You should have done it.
And I put it just over my face, and then the string I just tied around my ears.
Right.
I can't remember if I wore a hat or a wig. I think maybe I wore like a wig.
That must have smelled good.
And I remember, so it was a Halloween costume. So I went to some big Halloween party, with a lot of improvisers, and I just had like a flannel shirt on and a beef beard with a hole in it, and I was drinking beer out of a straw the whole night.
Right. Did people like eat part of your beard or anything like that? Is it
not
did
at
it
that
hold
time.
up? It could not have held up.
I don't know that it made it the whole night that night. I doubt it. I bet it did not.
Why not turkey? Ground turkey.
Because turkey beard is a worse name. Clearly. Beef beard is a better name.
All right, you got me.
So, yeah, it definitely. I don't think it would have lasted the night, so it got thrown away.
So you were thinking about doing that?
Well, so then later,
Yeah.
later, I don't think it was even my idea. I think someone else was like at Late Night Late Show was like, you should do Jim Beefbeard should be a character somehow, and then we somehow made him like. He was like from the Old West. He was like a pioneer guy, and I think the concept was like, you know, there was like, you know, a bad year of crops. There was no food for everybody, but Beefbeard was able to sustain himself by eating his beard, and everyone was constantly trying to get at his beard. And I think Katie Fullen played my daughter, who was like, you know, please give me some beard, Papa, and. You know, so that was what that scene was. So yeah, so when coming up,
where's his podcast?
I don't know. It have to be a visual podcast. It's that definitely helps. But so yeah, I remember having that thought in my head and considering it when I was going to do my audition in New York, and it's like, I mean, this would be crazy. It would definitely stand out. It'd be memorable. Is it the dumbest worst thing? Yeah, but is that a good idea? So pros and cons.
Right.
But I think ultimately...
Would you have had a slab of beef to
well,
put
that's
over
the
your
thing.
mouth?
I think ultimately I was like, I'm going to need to fly out there with a beef beard in my suitcase.
It's not going to smell good at all.
TSA's not going to like this at all.
Gosh.
TSA is going to raise questions. Sir.
Probably.
What are you doing with this beef beard, sir?
Well, I'll show you. You put it on.
You're auditioning for what? Sure you are. We're going to need to keep this beef beard.
Did you watch other auditions for Saturday Night Live? Like, not that day, but I mean past auditions that are online and on DVD and stuff.
I up to that time, I think I remember somehow, I think it was before that, a couple of them that had been out there, and it was only like Phil Hartman, Dana Carvey,
Will Ferrell, maybe.
I don't know if I'd seen that at that point. Possibly or possibly not.
There's
right,
the
we
cat.
play as that cat. Yeah. Yeah, I can't recall if I had seen that one ahead of time. But I do feel like I'd seen... I know the Phil Hartman one was on like that DVD that was like Best of Phil Hartman. And I'd seen Dana Carvey one. And I mean, those guys are just top two all-time greats there, you know?
Yep.
So those were the only ones I for sure had seen.
So have you been watching it like me your whole life, SNL?
Yeah. Since like when I was 8 or 9, I started watching, and immediately became just kind of the kid with the encyclopedic knowledge, and you know would never miss an episode until pretty much until I could drive a car.
Right.
Until you can kind of start.
Saturday.
Yeah, you can kind of start doing other stuff.
Because we're about the same age. You have a birthday coming up.
Yeah.
A couple weeks. The big
40 coming up.
Welcome to the 40s, my friend.
Okay.
Welcome.
Oh, great. That's great.
It's really good.
I believe it.
I'm 41.
Okay, yeah, pretty much same age.
So we grew up in the same era.
Mm-hmm.
In the same era. So when you do the audition,
yeah.
All right, beef beard's out.
Beef beard's out.
The two other guys are in.
Yeah,
And
Sexad and Frederick.
What about impressions?
Frederick
What are you
Zurich.
doing?
So I did. I had started working on some impressions like in the prior year, really, kind of with this goal in mind to audition for SNL one day, hopefully soon. So I did Matthew McConaughey.
Oh.
And
Can
this
you
was-
do a little?
I'm real rusty. I can
Okay.
try. I
Yeah.
can try, but
I won't judge it too bad.
let me puke. Oh.
Man, it's getting ankle deep here.
This was before the McConaughey as has been reported, so he wasn't as much in the public eye.
Yeah.
Let me try and think here. Just kinda-
Pre-Oscar.
What's going on, boys? What's going on? That's not quite right. It's close.
It's pretty good.
Sometimes I just like to get behind the wheel and just drive. Just drive my Lincoln.
That's good.
Yeah, that's okay.
really
That's solid. So I had that one, and I also did around that time I did Owen Wilson, and I thought that was pretty good.
What can you do? A little bit.
I'm
I'm
trying to remember now. I feel like I really need to listen to him to kind of like, well, that's pretty good. That's all right. Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
Talking like that.
Right.
That's about 80%, 85%.
That's pretty good.
That's
yeah,
decent.
Yeah. It's really good.
But I remember I felt like those guys are both from like Texas, maybe even from the same area or whatever.
Right.
They're
high school buddies.
Similar-ish area, and I just remember worrying like, are they gonna bleed over? Am I gonna be able to do them in a way that distinguishes them? Like I had that concern because I didn't have a ton of doing impressions experience, and I didn't know how, all right, how good am I gonna do when I on the screen test?
And what?
So I remember, so I decided not to do the Owen Wilson one, and I did Johnny Depp instead.
Can you do a little bit? He's been in the news last year.
Oh yeah,
that whole stuff,
divorce and things.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember now. The thing is, like, he always plays a lot of different characters. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of doing just what he's like in like an interview, which you don't see very much of.
Yeah. Soft-spoken.
He's kind of soft-spoken. That's not right. I remember Vanessa remarking like she really liked it because she just thought I naturally sounded a lot like him anyway.
Okay.
Sounded similar to him. Yeah, this is only okay. It's not.
He's got a cadence to him.
Kind of. Sometimes you don't know if he's from America or he could be from England or. But yeah, he's tends to be soft-spoken. Yeah, that's not very good. That's in the ballpark, but not good.
Yeah. You did that on SNL once.
I did. Yeah. I'm gonna give that version a C right there. Okay. I need to bone up. I should have boned up for this. I apologize.
No, I'm putting you on the spot. So you did 3 impressions? Was that 2?
No, I did those 2.
You did those 2?
I did those characters.
How much time do you have on stage?
It's about 5 minutes. And
same thing, about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I probably did I may have done 7 minutes or something.
Right.
I did those. I did a character that I did later on the show. I did who was like a Spanish-speaking broadcaster. So on the show, it was like ESPN Deportes, like Spanish language ESPN.
You speak Spanish fluently, right?
Yeah.
You studied it in college, right?
I was a Spanish major in college, and I did a semester in Spain, and I think that's like just like one newscaster that I would see on the TV there was kind of what inspired this idea. Just a very broadcastery, very official sounding Spanish broadcaster. But so what I did in the piece was just like, it's all in Spanish. So if you don't speak Spanish, you don't know what I'm saying at all. But then oh no, I didn't mean I wasn't directing that at you, but rather at the audience as a whole. Like, so the audience, you and everyone else in the audience is just hearing some language they don't speak, a bunch of words, and then the only thing that comes out in English is
I say it now because soon nobody's going to be allowed to speak it here.
Right.
So
yeah. So like the only words you hear in English are Jeff Van Gundy. So all you gather is that this guy is talking in very serious, grave tones about something with Jeff Van Gundy. So
do you still speak it pretty well?
Pretty rusty.
Because you don't get. I mean, you probably don't speak it that often, right?
No. Yeah. I mean, you could. I mean, but yeah, I am rusty.
Yeah. Oh, is that you?
That's me. That's me.
Do you need to check
but,
it?
I can check while I'm talking.
All right.
But anyway, so I did that as well in the audition so it's basically just a stream of, it's a very serious Spanish broadcaster, and then the only words you hear are like Jeff Van Gundy, Stan Van Gundy, Jeff E. Stan Van Gundy. Like,
Well, did you have to wait around? Like, do you know how many people went before you to audition that day? Like you were
I remember
23
waiting.
auditions?
Yeah, I remember waiting a decent amount. My guess is I was just in the middle, maybe in the second half. I do remember, having some time to wait there. You kind of get there, you get into the dressing room, and then I don't know if they have an order. I don't know if they say, you're up 15th or whatever,
Right.
or instead they're just like, we'll come get you right before. So you don't know if you might be going in 10 minutes or in 2 hours.
Do you get to go back to the hotel after you're done, or you go back to the dressing room?
Let's see. After I was done, I think I just hung around. It's a relief to have finished it and to have felt like I was getting some laughs and I got everything out correctly.
Do you know if Lorne laughed? Did you even you can't even look at him, right? It's too intimidating to even look over.
I didn't think to look over there, and I also didn't know, should I just be looking in the camera? I think I didn't have that figured out ahead of time, and you don't know going in what's going to be the layout, where's the audience going to be. So I definitely didn't at any point look over there and they're a good 150 feet away or something like that. But we're just finishing it and being done, and then just kind of walking out into the hallway there, and that's just also just a really fun, exciting thing and place to see. Another thing that you often see on the show when they go out into the hallways, and there's all the photos on the walls of all the former cast members and hosts and everything like that. So I remember just hanging out around there.
I did extra work once.
Oh yeah.
SNL.
Oh
so
wow.
I was there. The sketch I was in got cut before they went live.
Yeah. That happens every week. What era would that have been? What?
Tom Green hosted. Drew Barrymore at the I think was on during the credits or something. Maybe
is that
maybe he
late 90s?
That would be about mid. Late 90s.
Around there.
For sure.
Okay. Wow. Do you remember what the sketch was, or who
Yeah,
was
it
in
was
the
a
sketch?
Mango. It was a Mango
Oh
sketch.
wow. Okay. With Chris Kattan.
With Chris Kattan and Tom Green, and it was they were competitors.
Okay.
Tom Green's character dressed as a squid or something, or an octopus, and I remember walking onto the stage. They were rehearsing, and I see Tom Green on elevated on this stage in this costume.
Yeah.
And he actually makes eye contact with me and just shrugs what am I doing?
I'm in a squid costume. What am I doing?
What am I
do?
do?
That's fun.
And I was supposed to play part of his entourage. So I was in this squid man's dressing room.
Oh, okay.
So it was.
But were you a person or a squid?
I was a person.
Man. Oh, okay.
I had a suit or something, I think, and he's supposed to throw a tantrum and kick everybody out of the dressing room or something like that. So he did, and that was our rehearsal. And then that's my big break, and I got cut. And I was so heartbroken because I told everybody to watch. Because I was like, it's a Mango sketch. There's no way they're going to cut it. There's no way. It's huge.
Right.
Or maybe Tom cut it. Maybe he cut it or something.
Yeah, could be. I mean, it could have been back. Maybe it was back the next week with whoever was the next host.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe. I was on the train. I don't even think I stuck around to watch. I was on the train back to Long Island. And then I
Long
saw
Island Express.
Yeah. And then I saw one. I waited in line, got tickets, and sat and saw it. But I wanted to see the dress rehearsal because I knew there'd be sketches that wouldn't be in the live ones. So that was interesting to me. To see that.
There'd be material that got cut,
and I'd be done earlier.
Right. Yeah. You could hang out.
And that was with Adrian Brody hosted.
Oh, cool. Okay. I mean, a cool thing that you don't realize until you're there seeing in person is the work that the crew does to put the show on is just an amazing show in and of itself.
Small space, like
right.
Consider, I mean, you don't know how small it is till you're there. It's mostly seats.
Yeah.
If I'm recalling, and then there's like the main stage, and then like in nooks and crannies, they're like, let's put a set here,
right.
and like where almost nobody can see it. You know, you gotta watch the monitors. Or
exactly.
something.
Yeah. All it's a. I mean, it's a, a former radio studio. Right. It's not like a, a Hollywood, like the set at Universal. Right. It's they have to. It's a cramped space, and they have to. I mean, it's amazing. Like all the sets that you see, like they have to be constructed in pieces that will fit in the elevator and fit, through the doorway.
Right.
And they're made in. I think the shop is in Brooklyn where they build, the sets, but they have to be in small enough pieces that they, can fit in the elevator.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like the sorry, cough, puke. Just the choreography of the crew tearing down and putting up sets in the cramped space, because they can't put up 10 sets and then just call it a night. They got to put this one up, then they got to tear it down, then they got to put up the next one during a 2-minute commercial.
It's incredible.
That's really fascinating. I remember there's one, I think it's out online. There's some sketch that I think Nassim is in. It's from before I was there, where you can see they are they just barely don't get the set, like
finished.
You see one of the walls still being pushed into place as the they cut back from commercials. So you can kind of, that's the only thing I've seen out there that kind of gives you a glimpse into that.
Were there any problems when you were there? Anything that sticks out, like tech problems?
Not really. I'll give you my worst. My most annoying one. We were doing this. Russell Brand was hosting. It was a sketch. I had a very tiny part at the end of the sketch. I think it was Andy Samberg and Bill Hader and Russell Brand, and they were playing these like 3 middle-aged British women having tea. And it was, I can't remember the title exactly, some kind of a British tea time ladies sketch. But unfortunately wherever their location was directly on top of a fault line. So every couple of minutes there would be an earthquake. And they have a seismograph on there. So to get that effect, what they did, they don't shake the camera. They had these gigantic inner tubes, like, the size of like monster truck tires, on the floor, tons of them all around. And then they put the set on top of that. So they put the floor on top of these inner tubes, basically, and then just put the whole set together. And so the floor is like unstable. 3 feet off the ground, whatever. Right. Yeah. So when the earthquake hits, the crew members can shake the entire place, and glass breaks, and people are falling all over the place. That's kind of the what's going on. So I'm just backstage to make an entrance at the very end as the butler, and just bring out like a rickety cart full of like glassware and just more shit to break, basically. So I'm in a tuxedo and I'm like Jeevesy backstage. But so like I said, it's the floor is raised up off the ground. So the crew has to build a little staircase for me, and then a little platform on which my cart can stand. And the cart was, it was even written in there, so they'll call, I can't remember if I say it or not, but like a rickety bamboo cart or something like that. So the cart like moves precariously. It's supposed to be, the worst possible idea for a cart is what I've got and they had to weigh it down. They had to weigh the cart down, so there's a bunch of like free weights on the bottom of it, and it shifts physically while you have it. So it's a heavy thing. It's heavy, and it's on wheels and it rolls. But so the platform backstage is adjacent to this floor that moves around, right? But it's not connected because you can't connect it because the floor is moving. So I gotta wait for my entrance, and then at the right time, I gotta push my heavy, rickety cart from the platform onto the moving floor.
Is this live?
This is at the dress rehearsal.
Okay, dress rehearsal.
This is at the dress rehearsal.
With our audience?
Yes, with an audience. And so it's like I gotta wait for the line, and then I gotta make my entrance now, and I push my cart, and the wheel of the cart, runs into the floor, which is like crooked and at a higher level than the platform. So it's not rolling smoothly in, and I'm pushing, and it's heavy, and it's rickety, so it's like, and I'm looking down and like, what's going on? And then I'm assessing the situation, and I got to sort of lift the cart up onto the level of the floor and then roll it in. It took way too long, and so after probably a couple seconds of pause, I think maybe Russell Brand or someone just like says my line, which it was. It didn't make as much sense coming out of it. Was the butler had the cart and he's talking about the cart, whatever. But anyway, so like it's like me trying to push the cart in. It's not going. I gotta lift it up and over, and I get out there, and then someone else says the line. So I just come back and I stand back there with the cart, and then I think maybe they I can't remember what happens at the end of the sketch.
The floor so you could break everything, right?
Yeah, I can't remember if the glassware on that starts smashing or whatever. But yeah, so that happened, and
it did not go live.
Well, it did go live, and it went. So luckily I had that rehearsal run that didn't go well. So I knew live I was gonna have to make sure the floor was at the right level, and if it wasn't, I'm gonna have to pick up the thing and do it. So that was my best sort of technical snafu, as I recall.
So when after you audition, now you're waiting to hear back.
Oh yeah, so
for the thumbs up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
How long does that take? You fly back to Chicago?
No, well, I remember. What happened was that weekend my friend was getting married in Connecticut. So I had planned to stay in New York that week anyway. So I stayed in New York with friends, and then I went to Connecticut on Friday or Saturday of that week for the wedding. And
nice wedding.
Great wedding.
Nice.
Real nice. And I think we had gone the day before the wedding. It would be the wedding rehearsal. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm just keeping them all in my head. There's a rehearsal dinner. This is the wedding rehearsal.
Okay.
And so I think we were coming back from that, and I got a call, and it was a New York number. And I was like, "Hey, shut up, everybody!" We were in the car about to leave, and I was, open the door, get out of the way. Throwing my friends out of the way, and so I get the call, and it's someone from SNL saying, "Great job. We want you to come back for a meeting next week, in a few days." So that was the next thing. So I then, was there for the wedding that weekend, and I went back to New York, and I hung out for a few more days and went in for a meeting, and then
are you trying not to think about it in those few days, or do you obsess on it, what happened?
I can't really
obsess probably.
Yeah, I'm sure I did. I can't really remember too many specifics during the interim days there. Yeah, I mean, sure, a lot of anticipation and obsessing and everything. And I think maybe even my friend whose place I was staying at, he went out of town, so I just had his place. I had my own place by myself in New York.
That's nice.
It was great. It was very nice. What's that?
Good timing.
It was yeah, I mean, it was good timing, and I didn't have any like, but it was just I just remember being like I was by myself. I didn't no one else was there. All my other friends were back in Chicago, and they were gonna fly back, you know.
Right.
So yeah, so I remember that, and then
So the meeting. What was the meeting?
the
like?
meetings. I had a meeting like the night before the actual in the office meeting. They had me out for drinks by myself with some people from the show. I remember Seth was there and Steve Higgins was a producer, and then Lorne came in. I think he was coming from a Yankees game with some people. So then
This is Steve
came
Martin and Bill Murray.
It wasn't them.
And Paul McCartney.
Right. No, I think it was his son. His son was there. I remember.
Oh, he's
And
got a son. I didn't even know that.
yeah. Who was just like college age then. I think maybe other writers. So that was all kind of, again, surreal. I'm going to use that word again. It was just me and like 10 people.
You're like, I only know you guys from watching you on TV.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
This is pretty cool.
Pretty much.
Are they? Seth Meyers seems like a super nice guy.
Yeah.
Are they good at making you feel comfortable? Because they go through this every season.
Yeah.
Much.
Yeah. They're real good at it. I mean, there's no getting around. It is kind of different because you're the only person who doesn't know anybody else.
Right.
But yeah, they're great at that. The people like in the talent department and like Higgins, the producer, and Lindsay Shookus was there. And Seth, I hadn't met before, but we have, similar. He's Chicago
IO guy.
person as well, IO, and we knew people in common and stuff like that. So, we had stuff to talk about and everything. So, so I remember going through.
Do you
that,
think of that as like? Do you think that's part of the test too? Do you think that's part of the interview process?
Yeah, probably to some degree.
Is this guy crazy?
Probably.
Something like that.
I mean, it makes sense. Like if this person is crazy and they reveal that in this setting, then we know.
Casual setting.
Yeah, probably. So, yeah, I think, but it's not. It didn't feel like a job interview. It felt like that.
Yeah.
It's the audition is the most important thing. You can probably only, if you just be a normal person, you're gonna be fine. Is what it seemed like.
Are
but
you?
Yeah,
Are you?
I think I am. You could probably only mess it up if you do some crazy stuff or try
get really drunk and
get real drunk and be like, hey, here comes my next audition, guys, and like try and put on another show. Like, no, this is just be a person and like
my guy's
beer.
Captain Big Dick. Look, he's got a big dick.
Yeah. Glad I didn't do that.
That's mine.
Oh, that's yours.
That's
okay,
my
great.
Next
Glad
season.
I didn't also like pull out a beef beard then.
You guys, if I'm hired, I have this great idea.
Here we go. Just gotta tuck that by my ear. So so remember that was the night before, and then the next day went in and had.
Do you have to wait for Lorne? Is there like a waiting?
There was a bunch of us there. It was like Taryn. I think that's where I met Taryn. I think maybe I had met him in passing and we shook hands or something like at the original audition, but we were sitting, kind of sitting waiting on a couch there together. So that's when I first remember meeting him. But yeah, Vanessa was there. Jay was there.
Is it helpful to have people like, it's like, thank God Vanessa's here.
I think, yeah. I only know it one way, but I'm sure that it is,
Yeah.
And Jet was there, and Wataski was there as well. So we wait around, we, do the meetings with Higgins, and then
is it
eventually
solo
Lorne
meetings? Like
solo
and everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
So the meeting with Lorne, what's that like?
I mean, again, surreal.
Yeah. You're walking into his office. What's his office like? What does that feel like? Is there memorabilia around?
There is. I can't.
Is there a safe?
There's not a safe. There's an aquarium.
Aquarium, okay.
There's it's a corner, so there's windows. You can see out onto
the street. Okay.
You can see out onto the other buildings. You're up on the 14th floor.
Mm-hmm. Surely the 13th floor. Right? It's just one of those buildings where there's no 13, but it just skips to 14.
Oh, I guess I don't even remember. I can't remember whether it is or not. I honestly can't even remember tons of details from the meeting other than like.
Yeah. How long was the interview, or the meeting?
I'd say less than 15 minutes.
Okay.
Something like that.
I'm asking a lot of details because I like knowing the details because I'll never have this opportunity. So I like going, what's that like? What is that? I just want to walk in your shoes for.
Right. It was just like it's pretty casual. Again, you're trying to be like, trying to not be like, holy cow, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to again just be a normal person and everything. And I just remember him being like complimentary and like really liked the stuff that you did, and saw these characters again that I saw that you did some different material than your first audition, just being real nice and complimentary and stuff. And I think I remember telling him similarly, like, I've been watching the show since I was 9, and he's like, oh wait, so who was the cast then when you were 9? Like, well, it was Phil Hartman and Dana Carvey and John Lovitz and Nora Dunn and Jan Hooks and Victoria Jackson and Kevin Nealon and Dennis Miller. I think it was all of those. I just rattled them all off. Yeah. He's like, oh, of course, great, amazing cast. And I can't remember tons of other.
Did you do an impression of him? Everybody does an impression.
Everyone does. I'm not gonna do one now, but everyone does. You know what? That's a thing that I noticed. It's like, whoever are the people of authority in any kind of a comedy setting, coming from IO, the same way like people do impressions of Sharna. Everyone, like people when they're saying something that this person said, they don't just say it; they go into an impression.
Yeah.
They're like as. I've heard before, like, Del Close was before my time.
Everybody does a Del Close.
Right, everybody does a deep voiced Del Close type thing, which just must be the case. If you're a stand-up, I'm sure the club owner at, everyone does an impression of the club owner at, wherever your local club is, that kind of thing.
So, all right, so you have this meeting, feels like it goes okay.
Yeah.
And then you go back to Chicago then?
You
still
the next day.
The next day.
The next day, and they're like, you'll hear soon, and I got a call sometime soon, and it's like, oh, holy shit.
And you have to go like right away, right?
Like within a couple weeks. It wasn't like a couple days. It might have been 10 days. I don't know, 2 weeks.
Because were you living by yourself? Did you have roommates?
I had roommates.
Okay, so you have to fill in that gap. Somebody take your room, I assume, or something.
Yeah. Luckily, Chicago rents are not so expensive, and I had 2 roommates, so it was like I'll be able to cover rent for a couple months if you guys are in the lurch. So
all right, that's good. That's true.
That wasn't a worry.
But now you gotta live somewhere in New York. Are you couch surfing again?
They put you in a hotel to begin with. And
they do. Okay.
Yeah, so that was nice. We just got to stay in the same hotel and search for an apartment. I think I was there for a few weeks. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
Search for an apartment and then get an apartment, which is a whole crazy process in
Where'd you live?
New York. I lived on the Lower East Side.
Okay.
Kind of near Houston and B, right by there. If you know the city.
Sure. I do.
And I ended up it worked out real low, just low, complicated-y. That's a term.
It is now.
Real low complicated-y, because like the New York apartment finding thing is such a complex. You have to have a broker and all this other stuff, and you gotta be watching your phone because the apartment's gonna be gone like this.
Yep.
But so a friend of mine from high school, and and his then fiance, who we all went to high school together.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, she was moving into his place, so she was moving out of her place. So I got to just sublet hers and take it over. Like, great. I need anything. I need a place. I'm like, do you want my apartment? Yes, please. Perfect. So the timing on that worked out.
Because you knew that, I mean, are you told like you'll be here for a season? Or something? You're like, you got at least a season.
Or no, I mean, technically it's like half season.
A half season.
Half season options, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you knew you'd be there at least X amount of months, or 10
Right.
episodes, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So you got that.
Right. Exactly.
So what's your first day like? You have to feel out what the hell to do.
I mean, first day it's probably like signing a bunch of paperwork and meeting some people. Like I remember coming into the office, being shown around the offices. Some of the writers are already there, so meeting some of the writers. And
lay of the land.
Getting the lay of the land, and here's the offices, and it's kind of before the season starts, and so the writers are all already there, as I recall, and cast members are kind of trickling in as the week progressed. So like kind of gradually meeting people. And
do you get an office with somebody?
Yeah. So I had an office with Taryn.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So, so we were in a cramped little office, just like living in dorms, like going back to college.
I think I saw that office because he did some online video stuff of like in that office, and I was like, oh wow, that's the space.
Yeah.
It's tiny.
Yeah, I think he stayed in that office. Yeah. Tiny little office, just room for a desk, a couple desks, a little couch.
When do you start writing?
So, it's really just the week of the first show, and this is probably within a couple weeks of there. I can't remember exactly, but Amy Poehler was hosting the first episode that I was on. Yeah.
Is that crazy? Because now you did 30-something episodes. That means 30-something guests, hosts, and all these big-time celebrities and stuff.
Yeah, that's, again, the craziest thing about that show is kind of like how quickly you have to and you do just get used to. I mean, it takes a little while, but it's just so crazy to. First of all your coworkers, I only know you from seeing you on the TV.
Yes,
that's
you're
just a strange new thing. So you're starting out with that. Like, yeah, there's Kristen Wiig. Oh my God, this is crazy. There's Sudeikis. There's Sandberg, Fred. Like people who I've been a huge fan of. So you start getting used to that, and then the hosts and the musical guests quickly, within a couple of weeks, like it's like Scarlett Johansson is here, and then
maybe she'll marry me.
Right. Perhaps she'll marry me. We'll see. We'll see how it happens. And then like Robert De Niro, you're just like you're sitting on a couch with Robert De Niro, like pitching a dumb sketch idea. Like,
oh my God, what is that like? What did you pitch to him? Do you remember?
I think I'm trying to remember what would that have been. I think I remember
a beard of meat.
Yeah. No. Okay. There was a movie. Oh gosh, I can't even remember the movie now, and I never saw it. There was like a movie coming out that week with Johnny Depp and
Transcendence.
I don't know.
That one where he's like virtual Johnny Depp.
It's possible. Who else was in that? Who would have been the female lead?
Rebecca Hall, I think.
I don't think that it was. I remember. Well, it was me and Abby Elliott where she did an impression of whoever the other person was. I can't even remember the movie right now.
Okay. All right.
But anyway, it was that week, so we were. I think we were pitching him like he would be like a Hollywood reporter or like one of these reporters who does those like press junket things for movies. You know, when you see those where it's like the actors, they're in front of like a, you know, just a little banner of whatever the movie is, and they sit there all day long, and then 30 or 40 reporters just file in from all around the country, and
they rotate in. They each get like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Or something.
That thing, that press junket thing. So we were doing, it was like a press junket for that movie that I can't remember. It was Johnny Depp and the other co-star, and we had Robert De Niro was playing like just like a real crappy, like sweaty, not good reporter trying to interview
you were
us.
going to be Johnny Depp?
So I was Johnny Depp.
Gotcha.
Right, exactly. Again, just crazy.
Well, he must have related to that.
Well, he's been through those.
He's been through those. Did he like the idea?
I think he liked it fine. You know, he's so just laid back and nice. It's, you know, so you're just sitting there next to him, and you're kind of nervous because it's Robert De Niro, and you're like,
what's your first like?
We had this idea. What if you were like one of those interviewers from a press junket? And he's like, yeah, it's great. I'll do whatever you like. I'm like, okay, what if you're like gross and bad at it? And like, yeah, sounds good. You know, perfect. We'll do that.
And then you go and write it.
And then you write it up, and you do it on Wednesday at the table read, and
see how it goes.
You see how it goes. That one that didn't go into production or anything. I think it was fine. You know, it's like, I'm sure you've heard all these stories before, but it's like 40-ish sketches are written, and then like 10 are picked on Wednesday night, and then, you know, those go into production. So and
then what is it, like 7 go to air or something? 6, 7?
It varies, you know, like I think it depends. It seems like now they do even more pre-taped stuff. Yeah. You know?
There's 2 or 3 an episode, I'd say.
Right, which so it varies, but and if they're shorter, maybe they get 10 pieces in, but but even so maybe 10 to 12 get picked, but some of those are going to get cut after dress rehearsal, like you were like your mango that you didn't get to appear in.
Man, I wish I made it. I would have loved to have had some tape of me on Saturday Night Live. Man. That would have been all I had. Now I just have these vague memories. I didn't even have a camera back then. I couldn't even get a picture of anything.
Oh, we didn't have cell phones.
No.
Or one's had
a beeper. That didn't do anything for me back then.
We didn't have at least phones that would take an actual photo. I'm thinking back to like the early cell phones, but even like a flip phone, like it would take a picture, but it was like, what's the point of this?
It's like very grainy.
It's like a child with a crayon. Yeah. Like it's not. You're not saving these photos.
So, all right. So you're starting. How do you feel when you're there? Like, are you feeling like you're? I know Bill Hader talked about it took him a few years to feel comfortable there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Were you the same way? Did it take you? Did you ever feel comfortable there? Did it take a while?
I mean, you feel I felt very comfortable, like among the performers, and everyone was great, and the writers. Like it felt like a really good team and group of people, and I felt really good among them, and had fun and loved writing with everyone, and.
But you
felt like respected and everything like that.
You
but
10 episode contracts.
Right, exactly. It's like that. So you never feel like, oh yeah, I got this. Everything's fine.
I'm gonna buy myself a mansion in L.A.
No, definitely that. It definitely takes some more years being there to get to that feeling. So no, I definitely never got to that space in my season and a half there, for sure.
And then they invite you, that is what I hear, they invite you or renew your contract or something like that.
Yeah.
I forget the terminology.
Like they pick up the option.
They pick up the option.
On your contract.
For it to finish you out for the season.
Yeah.
And then, again, you have to, how long do you wait to see if you're coming back the following season?
Right, so then you just don't know what's going to happen till
August or something?
No, it's earlier than that. There's a date. It's in the middle of the summer.
Summer. Wow.
You find out at some point in the middle of the summer. So you've got that interim time to just not know, am I coming back or not, or what the fuck's gonna happen? I don't know. This is insane. All that kind of thing. Yeah,
That
real
sounds
stressful.
That sounds stressful.
Oh yeah, real stressful. So
so
a very exciting call to get that you're
Good
coming
news.
back. Good
Is
news.
it your agent that calls you, or is it?
I remember
Michael
it was. I think it was my manager. I think. And left a message because I was just randomly. It was I had decided I was going to go back to Chicago, just to visit in Chicago, and I decided I've never done this before. I've never driven from New York to Chicago.
14-hour drive.
Right, 14-hour drive. You've done. So I was like, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to rent a car by myself, get the Sirius XM, and
not bad. That's
just
some Howard Stern or something.
Right. I listened to whatever you got, and just drove all the way. It would have been more fun with a crew for a road trip. I don't know why. This is maybe why I'm like, oh, this is why this is. It seems like a fun, exciting thing to do, but then no, this is boring. It takes forever, and I'm by myself. But so anyway, I remember I got into Chicago that night, and I was crashing with some people. And at different points, I think my phone was dead or out of service or whatever. Yeah, I probably didn't have a car charger because I didn't have a car, obviously, in New York. So I think I got in, plugged my phone in, hanging out with whoever I'm crashing with, and then we're probably gonna let's go to a show at I.O. or go out to a bar or something that night, whatever. And the phone, comes back alive, and I'm like, oh, voicemails. And then I think that was how I found out. I listened to a voicemail. And they're like, congrats, just, they picked up your option for next year, so you're coming back. I'm like,
thank God.
Great.
So that's another 10 episodes.
Or whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
I don't know, 12 episodes or something.
Half season or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So then that half season contract rolls out.
Yeah.
And then, well, how do you find out you're not going back? Same thing.
In a similar way.
Yeah.
I get a call from the manager, being like, they may or may not pick up this option. I think maybe they extended it a couple episodes. I think that's how it went down. Yeah. They're extending that. They're asking for an extension for 2 episodes. And I was like, okay, yeah, all right, fine.
Are you getting nervous?
Sure. Yeah.
Did you feel this coming? Did you, when you knew that other contract was about to be up? Do you go? How do you go? Do I think I did okay, or I'm not sure?
You're like you're saying before, you never feel totally on solid footing,
right? Like on those tires,
right? It's like that.
On those tires.
It's just like that.
It's very metaphorical.
I guess I probably wasn't too much in advance thinking about the mid-season one, but in a cast that big, and it's cast that big with 9 white dudes, you're aware. If you're not getting a ton of airtime, you're always aware of that.
Yeah.
That possibility. So yeah. So I did those last couple episodes, and then I think I found out maybe half a week later they're not picking up the option.
It's pretty immediate, right? It's
okay.
all right, you don't have to come in Monday or whatever.
I think we had a hiatus then. That
Okay.
might have been a week. It might have been 2 weeks. It might have been a 2-week hiatus right then.
Okay.
And I was coming out to LA anyway, during that hiatus to
Meetings.
as you do, yeah, exactly. Go have meetings, which is what a thing you get used to in LA.
Well, good news, I have some time.
Meetings. Okay, great. So I was flying out the next day anyway.
Great.
And so I flew out and, kind of putting it all together pretty quickly. I guess I'm kind of just moving here now. realizing that pretty immediately. So I think I moved, I came out for maybe a month or something and crashed with people, and then like went back, packed up my apartment, and then, moved out to LA.
Did you
It's kind of
drive
like
out?
that fast. No.
No.
I can't imagine that. Have you driven from New York to LA?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Originally, in 2003, packed up my car.
Wow.
And first I drove south, North Carolina.
Were you by yourself or?
By myself.
Mm.
Then from North Carolina, I drove straight across, visited my cousin in San Diego.
So was that south of the Rockies?
Yeah, it was south. It was the south.
So like through, what would that be, Arizona?
Arizona, yeah,
Okay.
that stuff.
So
I
what,
went to Grand
New Mexico?
Canyon. Went to Grand
I'm
Canyon.
going to try to list every state.
Yep, New Mexico.
Would you have gone through Texas?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Right, Texas is.
Did you go through Tennessee?
Probably. I don't remember. Georgia, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, moved out to LA. Did it in 4 days.
Okay.
I did this crazy route in 4 days.
That's nuts.
It was crazy. I drove 24 hours straight in the middle of it.
You shouldn't do that.
No,
My God.
I should not.
My
dad made me
doing
nervous.
the driving and driving by yourself.
My dad made me nervous because I packed my car,
Oh yeah, and you're afraid about.
and I'm afraid I'm gonna park it at a hotel and it'll get broken into. So I was
Right.
like, I'll just keep driving.
Someone stole my nightstand.
Yeah, god damn it! I had a box of VHS tapes.
Right.
Okay, so you clicked with Taryn, obviously.
Yeah.
Who else did you click with?
I feel like everyone.
cast-wise?
I mean, everyone was so great.
Who
It
do you
was
still keep
really
in touch with?
fun.
Who you still?
Vanessa, obviously, like Vanessa and I were friends from before. O'Brien, I've
Mm-hmm.
been friends with from before. It's I think you naturally like the people that are come in around the same time as you.
Yeah.
More. And I feel like there was kind of there seemed to be when I was there, like there was like a bunch of us real new, and then a bunch of people that had been there a lot of years. There was kind of like a gap in kind of number of years there. So like Bobby was still relatively new
Right.
when I was there.
He's been there like over 10 years
He's
now.
the best now. That's crazy. He's maybe close to 10 years. Let me think.
Keenan's over 10
This might be his 10th year. Yeah, Keenan's awesome. Yeah, Keenan's definitely over 10 years. Bobby maybe his 9th year. I'm not positive.
Who'd you
9 or
like
10.
writing with the most? Because usually people pair up, right? Usually.
Yeah, I did I don't know if this was a good strategy or not. I made a point of, the crazy thing was when I got there, it was when Vanessa was hired as well, and O'Brien was there the year before,
Right.
and Shelley Gossman and Tom Flanagan were hired as writers at the same time as I was there. So it was like a bunch of us that all knew each other from Chicago very well. So it was great coming in with all these friends already. And I think I put it in my head to not to try to write with everybody else and write with the people I didn't know. I felt like it could be easy to fall back on just writing with my friends from Chicago, which I did a fair amount, but
You were trying to
I
spread it around.
I tried to make a goal of writing with every writer in that first season. I think I almost did
That
at
sounds like a
least
good
one
goal.
thing.
That
It
sounds
was.
okay.
It was great, and I liked. It was a great experience. But yeah, wrote with lots of folks. John Solomon was awesome to write with, and we shared an office my second year for a bit. He works on he co-wrote like MacGruber with Forte. He writes and produces and directs on Last Man on Earth.
Oh.
Great dude. I wrote a bunch with James Anderson, who's been there for I can't even imagine. I don't even know how many years. Another great dude. A lot of stuff with O'Brien as well. With O'Brien and Seth, we wrote those Sex Ed Vincent sketches. Yeah, lots of folks.
What host-wise or even musician-wise, was there any problem? You don't have to be specific, but it'd be funny if you were. Any problem? Like anybody like pitch a fit or like was terrible at it or something? At hosting or diva stuff?
None that I really ever saw. And I think there were ones kind of right the season before me, so I won't name names because I wasn't there to witness it. I remember hearing like the season before me and maybe after I was there, hearing some people who were a little more annoying. Really, I mean, everyone was really great. I remember there was a strange thing with schedule. Like I think the week Gwyneth Paltrow hosted, she was coming over from England, but there was some kind of crazy weather, so she didn't get there till Wednesday. She didn't get there literally till like the read through on Wednesday, like right beforehand. So she had to just come right in and just get a stack of 40 scripts and have to go right through and do them all. And that was the episode I did that Spanish ESPN character I was talking about. She speaks Spanish as well. So that was the week we wrote that. So that was really cool and amazing. Kind of, it was kind of like she just landed. She hasn't talked with anybody. Here's all these scripts, and you maybe have like 2 seconds, or a few seconds ahead of time, just be like, this one's all in Spanish, and we're just we're sportscasters, and you're Gwyneth Paltrow. Great, thanks for doing this like that, and so we did that, and that went really well. I think at dress rehearsal, and she was really good. So at the read through, sorry. So that went into production. We did that. It went well, and then we did it on the live show. That was a really cool one because it was just fun to do, and it's just such a crazy. Felt like a kind of high wire act, like oh crap! All right, the camera is gonna go on. It's gonna be live, and we're doing this whole thing in Spanish.
This could go wrong.
And I hope... Is
it on cue cards too?
It's all on cue cards. And it's like, I hope I don't mess it up. I hope I don't...
offend anybody?
I hope I don't just fail to remember how to speak Spanish, which isn't my first language. I hope it goes well and people laugh at it and enjoy it and all that, and all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of one of my top experiences of like a live performance. Like, all right, you're on a trapeze and we're live. Do the Spanish, and hopefully everyone gets on board with the sketch. So
do you feel good that you got to do what you did on Saturday Night Live?
Oh yeah.
That's really, so many people are trying their whole lives. I know guys that literally have said to me, my whole goal in life is to be on Saturday Night Live, and they're past that point now. You know what I mean? That didn't happen.
Yeah. The good thing is there's so many more outlets for comedy and for sketch comedy now than there were than we were kids watching. No, it isn't. That's the difference. That's the difference. Yeah, there's nothing like it for sure. So it's an amazing experience to have had. But yeah.
Do you get to go back and visit and say hi to people?
I haven't been back there. I would. I haven't been back in New York hardly at all.
Is it weird? Like the old guy that's visiting his high school?
Oh, I wouldn't think so. No, I haven't been back out there, but maybe I might in the next year or something like that. Yeah, but I haven't been back to New York. You
haven't been back to New York since you left?
Oh, barely. I think I was there this summer, but but barely. Okay. What was I gonna say?
Maybe something you'll host.
We'll see.
Wouldn't that be nice?
We'll see. Fingers crossed.
You do a Mr. Right version there?
Who knows?
Anything's possible.
Yeah.
Anything's possible.
I'm doing. Like I said, I'm recording more of those that podcast episodes right now. Why I have the. You guys will have to just hear the beard that I have right now, but I'm just doing like a live bit of that character later this week.
Oh, where
at a show that Nancy Friedrich's putting together. It's at the Lyric Hyperion. But anyway, it's like a lot of people performing, doing characters and stand-up. And
Okay.
stuff. But so whenever I do it live, as you noted, in your opinion, he's creepy in the photograph. I think he's
in the cartoon, that's
debonair.
Okay. All right, you say so. I would say don't bring your females near him.
Okay, sure. Yeah. But he's got a whack goatee. He's got a bit of a Jarecki goatee. Is the plan.
Outfit is he's got like longish hair, right?
It's kind of a big pile, kind of a big ball, a puffy ball of hair.
Okay.
But yeah, so I've only done this live like a handful of times. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times in a few different settings. And whenever I've done it, I've just grown a beard. Like
right.
I've done it on purpose, and I like was gonna go do it. I was going to do it in Chicago. I was going to do it in St. Louis, which right before that, this winter, and just bad weather closed the theater. So trying to find like a fake goatee combo, virtually impossible. So you really got to fashion one yourself. So I just have to, So I just have to grow, I kind of like just grow a beard every time I'm doing this live. I can't keep it up.
Like not too bad though. I mean, like if you had this right now, is that good?
Yeah. No, it's fine. It's fine.
Scruff.
Yeah,
because I'm scruffy too. We're big about the same scruff.
Yeah, similar scruff.
You can hear my scruff.
Mm-hmm.
See that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So no, it's fine. I'll do it. It's just I wish I had a more permanent solution. Like, oh, I'm going to do this show. Great, I can just slap on this plausible goatee. Yeah, why not?
Bring that
a
back.
Beef goatee. Why not do that?
Well, hey, I'm gonna wrap it up because it's been like 2 hours.
No, get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But
so long. Yeah. Well, this was great.
But we'll do a part 2 some other time, maybe in 5 years when we see each other again.
Hopefully sooner than that.
Hopefully sooner.
Yeah.
Because there's still a million things I could talk to you about.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
But thank you very much for being here.
Yeah.
Would you like to plug anything? Obviously,
Thank you for
Mr.
having
Wright
me.
with a W. It's a play on words.
Oh, yeah. Right with a W. Mr. Wright, which is on Howl, is a podcast. It's out there now. There will be new episodes coming this spring as well.
Okay.
So check that out. Subscribe to Howl.
Let me ask a question about that real quick. How the episodes that you have on there, they're about 35 minutes, except for the live one. How long do you record for? Is it edited down?
We edited a bit, yeah. Record for maybe a little, less than an hour to an hour and change. Kind of it has varied. Yeah, and then we edit kind of however we want it.
Is it
to
hard
be edited?
Not to laugh during it because
sometimes
the Mike O'Brien one there was a lot. He was laughing quite a bit,
right?
Which makes it fun.
It's fun. It is. Yeah. I hopefully no one's too upset about that. Yeah. Sometimes. Being a ridiculous character.
Because you're improvising.
Yeah, largely improvising. We've got maybe some bullet points and stuff, and a few things are like read. Pieces that are written that are gonna be read, but yeah, sometimes a challenge not to laugh, and sometimes fail at that challenge.
Yeah.
But it was fun. But yeah, so that. What else?
Twitter.
Twitter. Paul Brittain, Brittain 3 is my handle. This movie I did a tiny part in that just came out on VOD. Called The Night Is Young.
Yeah, with Dave Hill and Matt Jones.
Yeah, I imagine you know those dudes from out here. Yeah, from
Matt's been
from
on
years.
podcasts.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah. They wrote and directed, and star and put the whole thing together. And there's lots of other funny people.
Yeah.
Eloise Mumford, Kellen Coleman, Brett Gelman.
I just bought it.
Oh yeah! Oh great! Yeah.
Just bought the whole thing. Look forward to it.
Yeah,
I'd like to get those guys on to talk about it. Actually,
you should.
And I mean, you've done a lot, and I was going to talk to you about all your different your different credits here and stuff.
We don't
But
have to. We're running out of time.
We'll do that next time.
The only other things, if you want to watch a dumb, funny video on YouTube that me and Andy Sinclair just did and put out.
I just watched it. Billy and Joel,
the 2016 song.
That's fucking hilarious.
Check it out. And maybe these guys keep doing a song every year until the end of the world.
That should be,
which is hopefully
just 1 year.
Hopefully not that soon.
Just one video.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about that whole thing, Trump?
I spend way too much time being aware of every little thing that goes on, and I need to stop. Twitter. Yeah, I need to.
It's hard not to, though.
It's hard not to, and I just for my own sanity, I need to not paying attention and being outraged by every genuinely outrageous thing that happens.
And I was talking to my girlfriend. I was like, all right, I'm taking a step back from it, but at the same time, I don't want to be unaware of what's happening either.
Yeah, you gotta somehow find the balance. Like, rather than, I guess it's just gotta be like, rather than, I'm just gonna, for an indefinite amount of time, sit here on Twitter reading articles or watching, cable news or whatever. Like, I'll do this for an hour and then I'll move on to something else. Yeah, I gotta be better at that.
All right, one last thing.
No.
Bob Newhart.
Yeah.
Is your uncle.
Yeah.
And I read a funny statistic that said you are the second nephew, as a second cast member of SNL who's a nephew of somebody that hosted.
Yes, with Jason
Sudeikis, whose uncle is George Wendt.
Correct.
Hosted.
Yes.
I got to meet your uncle.
Oh, really? Oh, awesome.
A couple months ago.
Oh, wow, no way.
At the Saban Theater down the street. It was Don Rickles' 90th birthday, although his birthday was like months and months ago, but they were doing a few live things with Regis Philbin. Like
oh,
Don
my
Rickles
gosh.
And Regis Philbin.
Yeah. I didn't go to that. You went and saw it.
I went, and it was great. And Don Rickles stopped everything and said, I just want to say that there's a man in the audience who I just love, and he's a great friend, and I'll just like really building it up and buttering him up, and he goes, Bob Newhart. He made him stand up, and I was like, oh shit, Bob Newhart.
Yeah.
And I was like, when the show's over, I gotta go say hi if I can. And I did. Nice. I made my way through. I forgot you guys were related, otherwise I would have dropped your name.
Yeah.
Sure. And just real quickly, I just said, hey, great to meet you. Can I get a picture with you? And he was kind enough to give me a picture with me.
Oh, that's so great.
He seemed really nice.
Yeah.
So I hope he's doing well.
Yeah, he is. And he and Don Rickles have been like best friends for 50, 60 years or something. 50 Forever. Years anyway. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Did you get to meet Don Rickles at all?
I haven't actually met him. That I need to do.
Yeah.
I need to go see if he's still performing. He has been in the past few years. He's been performing. Rickles. Yeah. My uncle does too.
I'd love to see your uncle perform.
Yeah. I saw him. He did the Chicago Theater for the first time just a few years ago. And we went and watched that, and it was pretty great to see him back there. Yeah, he's a Chicago guy.
Wow. Well,
kind of the only thing. Oh, just along the line. One of the only reasons I could be happy about this White Sox fan could be happy about the Cubs winning is that my uncle got to see it. So
White Sox fan, interesting. Well, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks, EJ. Thanks for having me.
You're great.
Oh, you're great.
I don't know if I don't think we've ever improvised together. I hope we get to someday.
Yeah,
that'd be a lot of fun.
Heck yeah.
And we'll see you next time.
Absolutely. Thanks, EJ.
Bye. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Well, there you go. That was my talk with Paul Brittain. Thank you so much, Paul, for coming on my show. We were trying to work this out for like a long time, and I'm glad we finally got it together. Good to talk to you and living vicariously through you. So go follow Paul on the social medias, support him, go check out his podcast. And one more time, go to iTunes, check out Running Blind, my documentary short, for $1 or $2 on iTunes or Amazon or Google Play. Twitter, at EJ Scott and at EJ Podcast. And crowdrise.com/7on7 for the charity stuff. That's about it. Go subscribe to my podcast on iTunes, please. Leave some nice comments up. Why not? And tell your friends about it. And check out some past podcasts. Had some great ones. Taran Killam was mentioned on this one. I love that one. He's a good dude. So go check that one out. And Chris Witaski, we talked about him. Lots of good ones. Lots and lots and lots of good ones. And that's about it. Thank you so much for listening. See you next time.